I want to congratulate you on what I believe is the smartest thing a restaurant owner can do for their restaurant's long-term stability and profitability. Joining me for how to have my own restaurant delivery app to learn ways you can have your own food ordering app, restaurant delivery app, and delivery tracking app. It will be like having the power of your very own Uber Eats for restaurant owners. Welcome everybody, I'm Dennis Wilson, founder of Small Business Dream, and I wanted to start by thanking you for taking the time to watch this video. There are 3 ways to how to have my own restaurant delivery app. I'm going to warn you up front, I will cover a lot of information. So if you want shortcuts to particular points in the video, please check the YouTube description or skip around in the video to what parts interest you. If at any time it sounds complicated and you find yourself wishing there was a solution you could just use versus build for yourself all branded to you, skip towards the end to learn about those. All right, free, rejoice, free solutions exist. Free often means that you will spend a little bit of time to build and implement, so when you build it in your free time, your solution would be free. If on the other hand, you're really busy and your time costs an awful lot of money, you may want to consider that free isn't necessarily the right way to go unless it's a free, already existing solution. How about paid? Careful here, this can go almost from free to very, very expensive if you get into paying for food delivery app development. And I'm going to share the workarounds to this shortly. How about a hybrid? Well, most who attempt to do it for free do end up with more of a hybrid. They end up with a piece of this and a piece of that and all the different components fitting together to come up with some kind of a thing that gets them through and does what they need it to do. So that's usually where you end up when you go free, is with a hybrid. So what is required to have your own food ordering system complete with food delivery app and delivery tracking app? There's a bit of work to do. Okay, so you're going to need to have 3 basic components. And your first component's going to be a food ordering app. You're going to need to have the same ease of use mobile food ordering app experience as Uber Eats or say Grubhub. Now you can save some time and money here by having a mobile responsive online order menu that you share as a QR code menu or short URL. But it will need to offer similar online ordering experiences of Uber Eats, Skip the Dishes, and those big established companies. Second, you will need a food delivery app. It should have features like the delivery tracking app portion of Uber Eats and DoorDash, so the customer knows where your delivery driver and their food are. Now here's the good news. These 2 apps are often able to be made into the same app. Finally, you should have a driver tracking app. Now you can technically get away without the driver tracking app if you do not care to let your customer know where the driver is with their order, and you also don't want to know where your driver is. It is the equivalent of DoorDash or Skip the Dishes driver apps, and it is the app that does all the GPS tracking of the driver's location and would enable the delivery driver sharing between multiple restaurants. So if you actually wanted to gang up with a couple of your friend restaurants in the area, you could actually all share a driver's app depending on the software platform you build or go with. Now again, without the driver tracking app, your customers would not be able to track their orders in your food delivery app. Okay, so that sounds like a lot of work or a lot of money, but what are the benefits? Well, the benefits of doing your own restaurant deliveries are very compelling. You can save 30 to 40% that Uber Eats, DoorDash, Skip the Dishes, Grubhub, etc. charge. And I know what you're thinking, they only charge 20 to 30%. But that would be neglecting to take into account the actual cost of destroyed food, not delivered food, chargebacks, and of course, higher customer satisfaction as the food arrives in good condition from a friendly driver. Imagine friendly driver's face, your driver, your staff, the people they know, not coming all sweaty from their bike ride over. It just works better and makes people feel more connected to your restaurant. And of course, there's less kitchen and restaurant hassle due to upsetting customers that need orders replaced due to driver conditions, let's call them. Okay, what are the challenges? Well, it's a lot of work to have your own food ordering system. Don't worry, it's not as hard as you think, and we are just about to get into the details of how you can sort of shortcut this process. Now, of course, you will need a delivery method. Now, that might be a car. You're going to need the appropriate insurance. You're going to need to have a licensed driver. It's not always so easy to get a licensed delivery driver from within your staff. You may have to hire someone, or like I said before, share with some other people in your area. Now, it depends on your area, because you could also get away with bicycles or scooters or roller skates or walking. Just depends on how populated the area you are in. The stability and profitability of the future of your restaurant very much makes it worth it to take a look at doing this versus always relying on the third-party apps. Now, your driver has to know the area, right? Well, I don't think so. I mean, if you take a look at Uber Eats and all of the big apps, they all have a driver's app that literally shows the driver where to go to get to you. So you don't really need to have a driver that knows the area like you used to. So it's a challenge to get a driver, but it's not as much of a challenge because technology can enable it to be an easier job. All right, so let us dig into the part that many of you have been waiting for. Free or not too free? That is the question. Of course, there's always the desire to find a free solution. Often free means time, not necessarily spending money, but spending an awful lot of time. So we're going to go through some of the ways that you might be able to cobble it together for free, or the solutions out there. There are some solutions out there that are free. Most of them don't get you to the delivery app side, but let's take a look. So WordPress plugins. There's plenty of online order menu type plugins available if you can live without driver tracking. So not really your own restaurant delivery app, but more your own food ordering system, which can increase your takeout sales significantly, actually about 30% over just taking telephone orders. So still very worthwhile to look into if you're just looking for what can you do as the first step to have the maximum return. This would be it, and a WordPress plugin could work. You're still going to need to know how to use that WordPress plugin, and if you do, fantastic. If you don't, chances are the person who developed your site can do it for you, but then we get out of the world of free. So that's the double-edged sword with WordPress, is it's free if you know how to use it, and somebody charges you if you don't. But technically, it's a free solution. App builders. There's a bunch of really cool things out there that allow you to smack together a real simple mobile app. So some of these are really cool. You can just Google free mobile app builders to start your journey on looking into these. Now, the key is to finding one that will do all the things you want, that does not have a hidden reason after you put in all your efforts to charge you. So be careful. A lot of them appear free, and then just as you get it all ready to go, you push a button and it turns out you can use it 4 times before you need to pay them $500. So just be cautious on which one you pick. Play around with a few. Now that said, it could be a very viable option for the hybrid approach. Any pieces you can't get for free or open source, you may be able to whack together with a free app builder or even a slightly small charged app builder. Now, in my opinion, a good free but not free food delivery system is likely to be the best solution if you're not trying to spend a lot of money and you don't have a lot of time or techie programmer type inclination. So again, free but not free. So maybe one that's free, but they're charging you in the back end with, charging you a bit more for your Visa processing fees, or, find something that isn't charging you a whole bunch of money, but maybe you pay a little bit more down the road. These are all viable options to get you off the ground. You may not want to stay with them because they might get expensive over time, but that's okay. The key is now to get started and get yourself stable and get that data coming in. So, how to have my own restaurant delivery app was the original question that this video has attempted to help with. And so far, we've helped you see how to go as far as you can for free or really inexpensive. Now, we believe your best bet for my own food ordering system, complete with food delivery app and delivery tracking app, is to go with a pre-made system that checks all the boxes, like DeliveryBizConnect.com for under $100 a month. Now, it is as close to your own as it gets, but we promise to share all the angles. So let us get into some of the paid avenues where you would end up owning the source code of the entire project. So, food delivery app development. Now, this is a big and expensive deal. As we've shared along the way that you're going to need your food delivery app development budget to include for a minimum of 2 separate mobile apps, your combined food ordering app and your food delivery app, and your delivery tracking app. Now, you're going to read a lot online about the cost of app development is not so bad, and the truth, according to ValveTech.com, is that the lowest cost with an offshore team with the simplest of apps, which these are not, would be around $5,000 and a full North American team at $50,000, and a blended team where a lot of the management happens North American style, but the coding is actually done in less expensive areas, about $12,000. The numbers just get bigger from there. So unless you really have a big budget and a reason to need to develop and own it yourself, you're probably going to find you'll never equal the cost of developing by picking 2 or 3 or 4 of the different applications out there that you can string together to make it work. So website developers can help, but you will likely need to find your final piece, the delivery tracking app, somewhere else, as it must be a mobile app. And it's quite a technical one in order to do all the GPS tracking reporting that's required for your driver tracking, as well as your customers seeing where their order's at. Now, WordPress or Wix or Shopify have offerings that make it easy for a web developer to get something together for you to handle the my own food ordering system side, but you will again need to find an existing app or get into food delivery app development for the delivery tracking component part. And again, maybe you can do it through a web builder. You'll just have to have a look around. Now, DeliveryBizConnect.com has the ability to white label just the actual delivery driver tracking portion of it. So if that's something you're serious about doing and you're interested, reach out to us. We'd be happy to talk about some way of hooking our thing and your thing together. Now, existing delivery app systems. There are a lot of food ordering systems, online menu systems, QR code menu for touchless dine-in systems, and all that kind of thing out there. The hole in the market appears to be the actual delivery tracking app that you need to compete with the Uber Eats and give that same sort of comfort level to your drivers and your staff and just your customers. So a little time on Google will find you more apps and website solutions than you know what to do with. As long as you do not plan to do your own deliveries, which I assume is the reason you're still with me, is you want to do your own deliveries, your options are actually limitless, though very confusing to compare free versus appear to be free versus cheap versus expensive. So it's a bit of a schmozzle out there. So an all-in-one can certainly help you, but we understand the desire to have all the pieces in place and own them for yourself. DeliveryBizConnect.com is the most comprehensive solution for someone who is thinking how to have my own restaurant delivery app, even if that system did not include the need to do your own deliveries efficiently. So even if you don't need to do your own deliveries, DeliveryBiz Connect is still probably the best app for you to run your restaurant on in today's environment. So DeliveryBizConnect.com comes with check-in and check-out systems for dine-in customer data collection for COVID-19 tracing regulations where applicable. It has QR code menu for touchless dine-in experience, online order menu for takeout and or delivery, mobile app branded to you for your customers, mobile order and check-in, a driver app for your drivers, run your own loyalty points program right within DeliveryBiz Connect, and you can have your own referral points program as well. So your happy customers bring you other happy customers and you give them free food. Yay, everybody likes free food. Full restaurant CRM for automated follow-up and newsletters. It's quite amazing, but a very, very simple, thanks for coming in yesterday, how was it? And then maybe a week later, hey, you were in a week ago, you're sure you don't want to come back? Something as simple as that can be automated from the very first time they touch you, can actually increase your sales of your restaurant over 25%. It's quite insane what a CRM can do for you. So that's DeliveryBiz Connect. You can find us at https://deliverybizconnect.com. You can give us a call at 604-900-2384. That's country code 1 for our European and friends around the world. Or you can email me directly. I'm Dennis Wilson, and I am Dennis at deliverybizconnect.com. Very much for coming out. We would certainly love for you to subscribe and watch our next video and watch more videos with us, but we thank you for your time.